Oh my goodness, it was Halloween yesterday, but you might still be in a spooky mood. So here are the top 10 scary movies on Netflix for the day after Halloween.
I think I cut myself inside my mask and
I can't.
bleeding on the way
Hold on.
down. Wait, you don't smell it?
Hold on. Today, the day that we're recording this is Halloween. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's not Halloween anymore, but there's never a bad time to watch scary movies. What your mask is there. It is
Halloween time. I guess it's I think I should put the
You
mask
put the mask back on? I'll put on part of my mask. Nobody's gonna know.
Just because you're saying Halloween, you know what? So, even though it'll be going up day after Halloween, let's play the part. So, there's Austin. He's got his cowboy outfit.
Boom. So for Halloween time, everybody gets into spooky movies, even if you're not, even if it's not Halloween, you're still in the spooky movie mood. And there's a bunch of spooky movies on Netflix that are primed for you to enjoy.
Oh yeah, if you're not thinking about going trick-or-treating, if you're feeling a little too old, you're feeling a little too tired, or boy do we know that.
Maybe you're a little hungover from candy the day after Halloween. All right, these are some movies that you can just sit on the couch with your loved one or yourself and watch and feel just a little tingle of scare.
Lee, you don't want to get too scared. Actually, some of these movies might be a little too scary.
Yeah.
But if you want to get in the spirit of the season, we got some recommendations for you. So here's our top 10 favorite Halloween movies that Netflix has to offer currently. Also, we have some honorable mentions and some suggestions from you guys that you gave at our in our Discord, which is really cool. But to kick it off, let's start with DJ. What's a good suggestion that you?
So this is a nice one to ease into if you're just kind of in the Halloween spirit, but you don't necessarily want a scary movie. This is a movie we saw at Fantastic Fest and we both loved.
It was so much fun.
It's called Haunters. All right, and it's a documentary about people that build their haunted houses, haunted mazes in their yards.
Oh yeah.
And there's a bunch of different people, and there's different levels of scares from fun to basically torture.
Yeah, like you have your youth group level charity haunted house. Yeah. They also do some interviews with people who do not Scary Farm or
dress up in costume and do the scaring
and design them as well, which is really cool.
So it's basically about haunted houses and what they mean to people and why people like Halloween, and it's the perfect movie to get you in the mood. And I don't know, when we were going to see it, I was like, I don't know if I care about this, and it really sucks you in. It makes you care about these people that do this and why they do this. And there's some real characters. Like any good documentary, you stumble upon a person that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you exist.
You know what? I think a really good pitch for this documentary as well is that it's hilarious. It's really funny, and it's rare to find a documentary that actually makes me laugh genuinely and not out of I feel uncomfortable. This is actually really good comedy, and it's not a comedy. It just has very good comedic moments in it, and it's and just seeing how creative people get when it comes to building this, and also how it impacts some people's lives. Yeah, and also maybe you're not okay if you're making haunted houses, if you're turning your whole house into a haunted house once a year. Yeah. And what kind of time there's so much that goes into it. It's way more than you think.
Yeah, and it's just a really fun ride.
It is. Really. Also, they shot this over 10 years, so you get to see some real growth with some people as well.
100%.
And it's super short. Yeah. If you want a good pitch, it's really short. And also,
honestly, people underestimate that. I think people underestimate the value of a good short movie.
Yes, and if you are like, I'm scared at haunted houses, don't worry. This is more of the making of.
Yes.
The rest of these movies, though, are going to have some good scares. So let's move on to mine. Yeah. My recommendation is Oculus. Yeah. Now, this stars Karen Gillan and Brenton Thwaites. Yeah, and
we both know from superhero stuff.
They are. We have Nebula and Robin. Yeah. So cool. Well, this movie, it's about you're getting this, there's a story going on in two different time periods. One is when these two actors are adults, but also when they're kids. Yeah. And both time periods are interacting with this mirror and how this mirror is affecting their families. And the adults are trying to prove something that happened when they were kids actually was true. Cool. And then you're seeing what the kids actually went through. Yeah. And it's a lot of I think Memento might be too highbrow to compare this to, but you know how it plays with time a lot, where it's like, okay, wait, where are we at right now? What's actually happening? That's what this movie does, and it does it in a way that's more blockbustery. So it's very easy to follow when it starts to get a little crazy. And the supernatural elements of this movie, I very much enjoyed. I heard actually, there's a couple friends that had mixed reviews on this, but as an avid horror and scary movie fan, and I love those popcorn horror movies, those blockbusters, this is a solid one. So nice. I highly recommend it.
Check that out if you want something fun. If you want something a little more intense,
more adult,
I recommend Hellraiser. The first Hellraiser, if I'm being honest, I haven't seen any other ones, but the first one is, let's say, a little dark.
If you were to just do a quick summary of the movie, because I actually don't know what Hellraiser is about.
So Hellraiser is about, how do you describe Hellraiser? This guy, man, I'm really struggling with this one. Basically, there's this puzzle box that allows you to communicate with a version of hell. And so this guy is trying to escape his punishment from hell. Is trying to get, I believe it's his family members to try and help him escape from his story. So he has to get reanimated from being dead.
Boy.
And Pinhead and his buddies are there to try and bring him back. And it's
interesting.
Hellraiser, the Hellraiser franchise is like the heavy metal of horror movies. Like, this is for the people that like the Freddys and the Jasons aren't going to cut it. Yeah. Right. You need something a little bit more fucked up. You need something a little bit more intense and gory. That's what this is. But it comes from especially this first one, comes from a real honest emotional place. And so it is pretty messed up. But I if you're looking for like something a little amped up just a little bit, I recommend Hellraiser.
Speaking of Pinhead, who you call him Pinhead, was written in the chat by Austin, is one of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob. Also kind of scary. This isn't on our list. They get locked in Sandy's dome, and SpongeBob calls him Pinhead, and they look back, and it's a frightening face. Anyways, fun Google search for you. But before you do that, let's go over to my recommendation, The Boy. Now, this movie I had to sit with a little bit because I was like, I don't know how I feel with it, but the more I thought about it, the more it started to grow on me. And it's about a live-in nanny hired by an older couple to take care of their son. And when she gets there to meet the son, it's a doll. It's not a person. It's a doll. But this elderly couple is going to be going on their first vacation in a very long time. What you find out is the son, there was a big fire at the house and the son perished, but eventually this doll showed up and they treated it as their kid. And since the girl's like, okay, all right, what's happening? So after the couple leaves, she starts to not pay attention to the doll because it's a doll. And things start going wrong pretty quick.
Classic.
And it's interesting. What I like about the movie is when she starts to play along and how other people in her life start to react to it. 'Cause I get some memories of like her, when like he does fall in love with the computer spoilers. And how he tries to talk to his ex about it. I'm like, there's like remnants of that, like of that feeling. And
Hers a very good movie.
Hers a very good movie.
If you want a not scary movie to watch.
But a depressing movie, you could go ahead and watch her. But with The Boy, it's interesting to unpack what the mystery is here and like the supernatural elements. And you're like, what is this actually like? What actually is going on deep down, and what happened? What happened to this family? And which is really interesting. So it's another popcorn movie. Don't worry, guys. If you want popcorn blockbuster horror movies, I got your recommendations. But I do recommend it, and let me know what you think if you see it.
Yeah. So going to something a little less popcorny, but one of the classics, The Shining. That's on Netflix.
I've never seen it, and there's plenty of movies I haven't seen, so you don't have to tweet me about it. But I haven't seen The Shining.
Honestly, I think it was not until recently that I'd seen most of it. But this was just a couple months ago. I sat through it for the first time all the way through. And it's shocking. It's a very rewarding movie experience.
Does it?
I think it's one of my favorite Kubrick films.
Does it count that I've seen the Treehouse of Horror adaptation of this many times?
It does not, but that is impressive.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it's very funny. Okay. It's very good.
But really, so it's been a part of our pop culture for a long time. You kind of have a sense of what it is. But being in a similar boat, I can tell you it really is worth going and watching. You know what I mean? And it's scary in less in the jump scare way and more of the scares that I like. The scary movies that I appreciate more are the scary movies that get you on a deep visceral level, like oh no, what's going on with humans? You know what I mean? Like, so there's that, and I highly recommend The Shining.
Oh, Kate Houlihan agrees with you. There's a lot of recommendations for Cabin in the Woods. That's not on Netflix currently.
But I do recommend. I own that
Highly
movie,
recommend
so
it,
I recommend it. We can have a movie night.
These are movies that if you're watching this movie, or if you're watching this video and you're on our stream right now, you could literally go watch this.
Yeah, if you're talking about the top scariest movies, The Thing would definitely be on my list.
This list would be 100% different, but this is what you could watch right now. And there are a lot of these movies. Actually, all these movies are they're coming highly recommended. But moving along, I want to give a recommendation to a movie that really it shook me when I first saw it in theaters, and I immediately purchased it when I could, and I've shown it to everybody. It Follows. It's it's a good one. It's a high up there. The concept's very simple. It's for reasons a person becomes they get they get shadowed by a demon that's or an entity that's just constantly walking towards
It's almost
them.
like if you made a movie out of the game of like if you had a snail that was always the second it touched you, you died, but it's always moving. Like what would you do?
Do you ever play
that party game?
like that blindfold tag where someone's and you're you have to hide in a room and they're blindfolded and they have to walk around until they tag you. And in youth group, youth group, but they're always coming for you and you can't really get away. It's a nightmare. It's like there's nowhere to hide because no matter what, this thing's always coming for you, no matter what. So and that simple, I love that it's just such a simple idea. It's such like, what if it's just always there, always haunting you? Like, is there a way to get around this? What are the mechanics of it? What are the rules? And so it was. I liked how small scale it was too. It's not big whatsoever. It's and the way that they play with like getting you, because there's very few jump scares in the movie. There are a few because they're cheap, and if you need them to like kind of get your audience riled up, it's a good mechanism. But for the most part, it's just like you waiting and seeing something that the cast can't see, and you're like, oh my god, I hate this. Oh my god, please.
Yeah, and it has some deeper meanings behind the stuff going on there too. So it's a good movie.
Oh, shout out to Cat842. I know if you're watching a YouTube channel, we do Twitch streams on Wednesdays 4 p.m. But she's going trick or treating. Thanks for the 500 bits. Very much appreciate it.
Have fun.
But It Follows is my recommendation. DJ, what's your number 2?
Number 2 for me is The Conjuring. You're talking about like blockbuster scary movies. If you're talking about like blockbuster popcorn scary movies, it's hard to you don't get better than The Conjuring. Like not only is it a legitimately scary film that has a really great cast, but
great director.
It's also a big blockbuster in its own right. So I highly recommend The Conjuring. This is one on the list that most of you have probably seen. If you haven't,
you're in for a treat. And if you can find the second one as well, highly recommend it.
Definitely.
Every spin-off that they've ever made.
Then the second Annabelle movie.
There you go. There you go. No, it's a very good movie. Hereditary spooks my poops. 100%. All right, let's give some bits to that. I appreciate that. That's a true. But for me, number 2, this what was this related to? Hush came out. But what was there was a movie that came out in theaters. It starred Stephen Lang, where he was a blind man. The people were locked in a house with him, and he was gonna get him.
He's gonna get him.
He's gonna get him. But then this movie came out, Hush, to Netflix, and people were relating it, comparing them, because this movie is about a woman who is mute and she is deaf because of a rare condition, a rare thing that happened when she was younger, and she's in a cabin in the woods, and a killer comes after her, and just a lot of the way that they shoot and display it's classic like serial killer tactics. And the way that she is able to figure her way out of this, it's very cool. And also a lot of there's a lot of tropes. There's a lot of tropes in this movie that are similar in other films like this one. But I like the way that they write all these characters to be really, really smart.
Can I make a recommendation to you? Because both Oculus and Hush on your list, and both those were made by Mike Flanagan. There's a new series on Netflix called The Haunting of Hill House. And the girl from Hush is actually in it. She's one of the main characters. Highly recommend that show.
A lot of people in the Discord were talking about it. It's definitely an honorable mention.
It's
a good one.
I'm just saying, if you like the Mike Flanagan stuff, you might want to give it a look-see.
But what's your number 1?
My number 1 is probably one of the best scary movies of this century. What's
the specific genre you put this under? It's like not thriller. It's horror.
I would put it as a horror movie. I think people there was a weird debate about whether this was a horror movie or not. It's almost specifically because it doesn't have jump scares, and I think that's silly personally. I think The Witch is one of the best horror movies we've gotten. I think it's 100% a horror movie. I think the stuff that it touches on, like Hereditary, which I think is another really tremendous horror movie, runs deeper than there's a guy behind me. No. It touches on real existential dread, and I think that's more meaningful. That sits with you more. That like a jump scare is like cotton candy. It like evaporates in your mouth. Like the stuff in The Witch and really great horror movies like The Shining, like The Thing, like The Witch, like other movies that start with the word the. It sits with you. It makes you think about. It Follows is another good one because there's the setup for it, but really in a lot of ways it's about coming to terms with, hey, we're all gonna die.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
but that's a big thing.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is kind of like and deals with helps. I think horror movies exist to help you process the griefs, the struggles, the things that scare you in this life. It's a safe space to experience that stuff so you can process it and move forward. And I think The Witch is able to provide that while also being a really interesting examination of a real life time and setting. This movie was made using journals from that time about stuff that really scared settlers. I'm going to call them settlers. I don't know if that's the right term for
what happened.
But for this group of people
to paint a picture.
Yeah, and so it's a really fascinating examination because not only is there a supernatural force that is scary, but the situation that these people find them in is deeply unsettling.
The best pitch for this is that the director sat down and read actual journals and accounts from 16th century settlers.
Yeah. Whatever the term is, they're not pioneers.
People who emigrated from Europe.
Yeah.
And what they truly believed was going to go bump in the night, and then taking that world and making it real. This is a horror movie for that generation of people, and the level of detail and the care and that they put into making this movie and the acting. The cast in this film is absolutely dedicated 100% to what they're making, and you're not. I showed my girlfriend this recently, and there's an opening scene that will really gauge if you can handle this movie. There's an Austin, have you seen this film? Yeah. So there's an opening scene you're familiar with. I don't need to say it for the stream. Yeah. And we were like kind of like joking around till that happened, and she's like, what happened? And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't. And then when it starts to unravel what's happening, she's like, no. I'm like,
it's a deeply terrifying movie
and disturbing.
Disturbing, and I think, and it's a well crafted film. So if you're looking for something that's really scary, I do recommend watching it with subtitles because they speak in Old English.
It will help a lot.
And I know when I saw it in theaters, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna just catch every fifth word and we're just gonna roll with it. So watch it with subtitles, but I highly recommend it. Sam, what's your number one?
Oh, number one, because I've been going on the blockbuster popcorn movie. This is probably one of my favorite blockbuster horror films I've seen.
I agree with you. It's really good.
It's so well crafted, and you guys are probably familiar with it because it's been on Netflix for so long now.
And we've probably talked about it at least once or twice.
At least once or twice. We actually did a movie stream for our Patreon where we watched this, and it was our first time for both of us.
Yeah.
That was last year. It's Train to Busan. Now, this movie came out in 2015, I believe, and it was from Korea, but we were able to get it because of Netflix. Thank you, Netflix. And it's still on Netflix because I think it's just like a tried and true, like, this is a good movie that they get to hold on to.
Man, it's so good. It's probably, so good. It might be my favorite zombie movie.
I think it is, too. It is we haven't seen One Cut of the Dead.
That is I was going to say, that's a little bit of a... I don't know if I count Shaun of the Dead either, but
no, it's Train to Busan. There you go, for Halloween.
Yeah,
but it's just zombie apocalypse, but some people happen to be on a train when it hit their city, so... What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and there's one character that we lovingly refer to as Batman. Yeah. And he's great.
And you'll definitely recognize him immediately because he takes down people better than Ben Affleck's Batman. Yeah,
he's great.
He is so cool. And the mechanics of it and the physicality that these extras, like, they gotta be background dancers. Like, the way that they bring the zombies to life. The very first scene where it's like, this has nothing to do with any characters you're gonna meet later. It's just painting a picture of the world, what's about to happen, what's about to unfold. And you're just like, well, that was deeply unsettling. It wasn't anything too gross. You're just like, the way that certain creatures moved, you're like, this is bad. Like, this is bad. Like, it's just so bad.
And I think movies, the two genres that require pacing, like good pacing, above everything else are comedies and horror movies. A lot of horror movies would be like, hey, here's a thing that we painted scary. Isn't that scary? Nah. Train to Busan has that classic, like, you'll get a hint of something. You're like, and you'll see another thing. You're like, oh no. And then it'll just slowly build to like, oh, this is a nightmare.
Also, when a lot of people start turning on each other and they're like, wait, we can't do that. We can't let them in. And it's like, yeah, you really shouldn't.
Yeah, you
because
really...
the rooms are about the size of a small studio apartment.
Yeah.
And there's 40 people in there.
Yeah.
And you're going to save one person?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you're fine. Also, to be fair, not only is it a good horror movie, it's a really solid action movie too.
It is.
Yeah.
And... It's gonna get you in the feels too. It's gonna get
it really is. It really is.
It's really gonna get you in the feels. Sam, that was almost as big as the forehead on the new Flash suit. That was a good one.
Yeah. So
that's
the
a
point
bit
is,
to you.
So these are 10 movies that if you want to have a nice Halloween night or just a spooky date night that you can just turn on Netflix, you can watch. And I think we've got all our bases covered depending on what type of movie you want to see.
You got a lot of options, and if you do watch them, let us know in the Discord or on our Twitters at Sam Basher.
At DJ Talks Trash.
Yes, we do have some honorable mentions. Really quick rattle them off. You said Haunting on Hill House.
Yes, I've heard people talking about it. I really can't recommend it enough.
I want to recommend The Ritual, which we both haven't seen as far as I know, but it was recommended by Whitney Moore, who's on our newest episode of our podcast. OnlyStupidAnswers.com. You can listen to it there. The Ritual, which was also recommended by plenty of people in our Discord.
So many people in the Discord.
But I also want to recommend Goosebumps, the series. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Those are our honorable mentions. Let us know what scary movies you're interested in checking out for Halloween or just in general.
What other ones? Like Netflix usually has a pretty good... they have a plethora of horror movies, but we wanted to pick what they got right now so you guys can go tune in and watch and let us know what you think. Also, here's just last minute post-credit scene recommendation of a movie. For some reason in the Halloween section of Netflix, they recommend this movie called Bad Genius. We saw a lot of it, a good 90% of it at Fantastic Fest last year. It's not a scary movie, but it might be one of the most fun heist movies you'll ever see. And I'm going to pitch it that way. Watch it. You'll have a blast.
And maybe something happens in that last 10 minutes that really turns the movie around. But
it's a dang bloodbath for some reason. There's no reason for it to be. Wow, who doesn't love an after Halloween celebration, don't they? Let us know which of these movies is your favorite. Which scary November 1st movie was your favorite in the comments down below. And let us know other Netflix movies that are there and what movies they should be getting, dang it. There's plenty of good scary movies out there, but we wanted to make sure we helped you guys out, did you a solid, but also do us a solid by hitting the like, subscribe, and notification icon so you can stay up to date with all of our videos and make sure more people find us. Share it around, hit that share button, share it on your mom's Facebook. She might like it. I don't know. She might like movies. Who knows? But I'm at Sam Basher. You can follow me there on everywhere that matters.
I'm at DJ Talks Trash, and please go to OnlyStupidAnswers.com for more content from us, and join us on Patreon.com/OnlyStupidAnswers for exclusive shows.
That's where the cool kids hang out.